Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. Jackson and I are out doing one cast today. It is Friday the 8th of November. And I'm just below Dino's house, below Fall Creek. They're not running any water. The wind's from the north, so it's blowing up lake. Nice chop on the water. I'm going to be fishing a 50th ounce Sculpin jig with an olive head, 2-pound line under a float about 5 foot deep. Kind of fishing mid-lake. I don't want to get, this area of the lake's not super deep. I might be fishing a little bit too deep. I think I am. I'm going to move it just a little bit down. Blake's on a trip. He said that this is the color that they're hitting the best on right now. I've got an 8-foot St. Croix panfish, medium light action. It's real nice for fishing a jig and float. Rod tip low and keep up with your slack. That's the two rules, that and try to keep your boat in a place where I just missed a bite. He tugged on it pretty good. Chop on the water is really going to help the action of the jig. I really don't have to move the float that much, but it's good to move the float just to make sure you've got a pretty tight line between your rod tip and the float, but you don't have too much slack. He's sitting down there chewing on it, and I'm not setting the hook. The first time he bit at it, he took it under. Well, I say he, it could have been more than one fish. The second time he was just not taking the float hardly under at all, and I just didn't recognize the bite. There he is. Pretty small. There are a lot of small rainbows in the lake right now, but there are some good ones here too, so. Oh, missed him. I don't want to throw out too far. You don't have to throw out that far at all, really. I'm out probably 30 feet, and that's probably too much. I've got a hard float. It's a teardrop, and I've got the small end pointing down. That's so if I get a bite, it's a lot easier to pull that small end down to the float. It kind of stands up when you get a bite. Of course, it's plenty heavy enough to throw it a long ways with 2-pound line. Lake's been fishing a Sculpin or an olive jig for a while, doing a lot better, and I've even started using that color instead of black. And it's funny how they'll hit black for so long and then they'll switch. They certainly have. I'll still go back and use a black and a white occasionally just to make sure they're not switching back again. But and you'll catch fish on those other colors. It just, you'll catch more fish right now on that Sculpin, or it's an olive drab is what it is. The other thing is you don't want to drag it. You don't want to drag that float. You want it out there stationary. Oh, came off. Too far. I've been putting my trolling motor on spot lock so I don't have to fight the wind. He was not eating that very hard. Now I picked this spot because if you go up lake a little ways, you kind of lose your chop, and you go down and the wind's a lot harder. You go down and around the corner, it was really blowing, and of course I didn't want to be there. And I actually stopped up here couple 300 yards, and I lost the chop. So I came back down here until I got into the chop pretty good, and that's where I've started. So it's not necessarily the spot. It's what I'm looking for as far as the chop on the water. I always like to point the boat into the wind. I can control the boat a lot better if that nose is in the wind. A little bigger fish. Still not very big, about 11 inches maybe, 10 and a half. Nice thing about this thing is you don't have to rebait, you just throw it back out. He's a hair bigger. He's probably 12. So I'm just taking that hook and turning it upside down, or turn it sideways and shake it. Usually comes right off. Blake was right, they're hitting it pretty good. I'm not sure if that was a bite or not. Oh, he took it under. I wasn't quite ready for that one. Probably a little one. This is about where we saw that big brown, or actually it was up higher. Come up and chase a rainbow the other day. So there are quite a few rainbows up here that are pretty small, 4 or 5 inches long. They could be stocked and they could be natural. But they're just right for those browns to eat. Boy, he took it under. Just got to check the hook. These hooks that we use on these 50th ounce jigs are TMC, and they're really stout. They don't bend very easy. Kind of lost my chop a little bit, not all the way, but so I'm going to move that float just a little bit more. It's still moving pretty good though. Well, I'm getting my chop back, but I'm not getting any bites. I like to keep moving and keep fishing, you know, new water. So every time I throw out, I'm throwing out someplace a little different. And I do like to go against the wind. Like I said, it's a lot easier to control your drift, control the boat. Either they quit on me or I'm just not seeing the bites. They are, I see them on the surface though. They're running around looking for midges. So I think what I'll do is move my float up a little more shallow. Oh. So I got about 2.5 feet deep now. Uh-huh. Ah. That's 2 in a row. I know we were talking yesterday, me and Blake, and he said that he tried a Sculpin jig with an orange head, did really good yesterday. Just the whole spawning and eggs and orange and he said he thought he was really on to something. Of course, I like using orange-headed Sculpin jigs, especially under a float. And but he said today they did not want that orange head. They wanted the Sculpin head or the brown head. Okay, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna go all the way back to where I started. Take a second. This water down in front of this log house duplex is a lot, it's quite a bit shallower. It's not super shallow, 4 or 5 feet versus 6 to 8 feet up here. So I'm going to move my float back down. It's about 5 feet. I'm not going to go all the way back to where I started, but I'm going to go down here far enough to get into deeper water. I'm going to be drifting kind of fast, so probably won't stay out quite as long. I threw that one out too far. There's either more fish up in this area. Well, there's probably just more fish in this deeper water than up in that shallow bar, I think. I'm just going to go another 5 minutes or so. See if my theory is correct. Just had a bite and missed him. Supposed to get some rain tomorrow. That's probably what is starting to blow in a little bit right here is the front or whatever it is that's coming through. Boy. It's last cast. Although I think I'm gonna do something. Okay, I got up on that gravel bar down there and just stopped getting bites. So I've come back up here where I started, and I have put on a Sculpin jig with an orange head. And I moved it back down to about 5.5, 6 feet deep. See if that makes a difference. I mean, they just shut off. Just quit biting on me. Okay. Well, I guess it made a difference. Either that or there's more fish here, which I think that might be true. There's more fish in this deeper water, but down there on that bar. Hey, how you doing?
Doing one cast?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Good. Jig?
Yeah.
Light?
No, Sculpin.
Oh, the jig under a float?
Yeah.
Okay. Micro jig or a...
50th ounce. Not real small. Well, so much for my theory. Got the one bite, one fish. It's my last cast. I'm gonna get going. Well, it started off real good, but it just kind of dried up. It was fun. Tomorrow ought to be good. Cloudy, rainy, windy. All right, thanks. See you tomorrow.